one of the biggest problems people have. And my clients write messages to me all the time asking about it. Now, I know something about this topic, but I'm not an expert. And those guys are experts. How do you remember names? When you meet somebody for the... Because you know what? You're watching this. I don't know you, but I'm sure that you've had this situation. You've had this situation when you walk to dinner party and you say to yourself, this time I'm going to pay attention.
Right.
So say, hey, my name is Jimmy. My name is Sarah. Okay, Sarah, great. Hey, Jimmy, John. Oh, hey, John.
Have you met?
And then somebody breaks your pattern. Somebody, exactly, have you met this? Have you met that? Or suddenly you realize you don't remember anything and you're too embarrassed to ask.
Well,
and then what happens? You meet those people maybe after a few days and you don't know their names.
Sure.
And you are totally embarrassed. It impacts your actions. You lose
not
confidence. How do you remember names?
All right, I want to let you take this because you're the strictly memory pro. But I do want to say one thing, which is when I interviewed Harry Lorraine on our show, he's the memory master. He's the Buddha of memory, if you will. He gave me a tip which is not connected to memory. He said most people, when they hear someone's name, are so busy shaking hands and thinking about their own name that they don't even listen. So first step is listen. Actually hear what people's names are and what they have to say.
Yeah, well, that was what I was going to lead in with, is that when you have that feeling, I don't even know your name.
Right.
The reality is you never knew it in the first place.
Right.
You never actually paid attention to it.
All right.
So one thing that you can do instantly is just prime yourself that you're going to remember people's names.
Right.
But actually word it in a different way. I'm going to pay attention to every person I meet at such a deep fundamental level that they're going to be the only person in the world during that moment.
Right.
They're
Alright.
going to be, to me, like a spotlight is on them, right?
Right.
And then, now, there's multiple levels of memorizing names, one of which is just simply to pay attention to it, as I'm suggesting, then shake their hand, look them in the eyes, and repeat their name back, right?
Yeah.
And then one thing that you can do, even if you damn well know how it's spelled, you can say, is that with an I or an E, right? Or you can just come up with some kind of thing. Or that's interesting. Isn't that one that you can spell this way or the other way? Like it's or draw some kind of attention to the name. Like, for example, we were in a situation where someone,
Yeah, that's good.
we were in a situation where someone said, is it John or Jonathan? And you said, I always prefer to go by Jonathan, right?
Right.
And so that's kind of a situation where you could say, like, is it John or Jonathan?
It's Tom or Thomas. Yeah.
And you're ingraining it deeply into your
Or what does that
mind.
mean?
Yeah, how do you do that?
know,
Do you
what
find a
does-
connection?
Yeah.
What's the strategy?
Well, I'm just like trying to give like the non-mechanical stuff.
Right.
That's
Because the
just
mechanical
practical.
stuff is mnemonic,
Yeah.
right?
Now,
We're trying to be memorable, Jimmy.
but you know, we've talked about this on some podcast episodes we've done, where mnemonics are not necessarily always the go-to tool.
It's true.
Right? So sometimes you don't want to, bring out your toolbox and like, okay, here's the ratchet, here's this, that, and the other thing, here's my spray paint can to make the mark where I'm going to drive the nail, like that kind of stuff. Now, that said, I still use mnemonics.
Obviously.
And so
If you have the power saw, use the power saw when you need it, you know?
Harry Lorraine, since he came up, he's kind of well known for doing the thing where you imagine an image on a person's face.
Yeah.
Harry, with all due respect, I think that's the worst piece of advice in the world. You want to create crazy imagery, right?
Yeah.
But put it on their shoulder, put it behind them, put it anywhere in the world except for on their face, because when you're looking at that person in the face, you don't want to see Hitler taking
And
a
you start
dump
laughing.
on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
So I actually take it a totally different way, which is I make them into the visualization.
Oh, that could be worse.
No. It's very simple. I meet someone named Tom Sawyer. They're rowing a boat. I meet someone named Michelle. I picture them, John Lennon singing Michelle, My Belle. Very simple. I put them in real life, active situations. But then I take it even further than that because I picture them with anyone else that I know who has that name. So Michelle is this girl I knew 20 years ago named Michelle. The two of them are sitting together and John Lennon is singing Michelle, My Belle. And I don't have to disrespect them in any way or put things on their face. It's very simple.
It's critical.
So you
and that's the way
create
to do
your
it.
association, basically, right? Between something else,
Yeah,
something you already
I
know,
mean,
and that particular name.
My whole thing on memory, there's really two ways to game the hippocampus, the part of the brain considered to be largely responsible for forgetting. There's a lot of different parts of the brain that are responsible for forgetting. There's novelty, well, three, I guess. Novelty, imagery, and connection. Novelty, you know.
Well, there's punning and there's
yeah, that's true too.
Sound and
that's true too. But the main ways to kind of game it, no, it's fine, it's true. But the main ways to kind of game it are novelty, imagery, and you know. So novelty, John Lennon playing a one-person concert, pretty novel. Imagery, that is an image, and connection. Anyone you know named Michel plus the song Michel. The more connections, the better, right?
Let me suggest a way for you guys and for you to practice. And if you haven't done this for a while or never done it, I think you're going to love it.
Try tonight.
go to imdb.com, look up your favorite movie, if it's The Matrix or whatever it might be, and go to the production crew, right? And practice memorizing all those names using a memory palace. Now,
if they have pictures, right?
No, well... They may or may not have pictures. If you want pictures, then go for the secondary cast, right? Like actors that you don't know.
Sure.
So the guy who played the security guard or whatever, and he has a big enough IMDb profile that his photo is there. But I'm just thinking purely in terms of the sound of names and matching that with images that are not necessarily the person.
Sure. Agreed.
Now, there's weaknesses to that. But I just want to get a drill, and I want to make a very substantial point about how to drill your memory so that you're bulletproof when you hit situations. You got something?
Yeah, I was just going to add on another option, which we could make a plug for our mutual friend, being a connector.
Yeah.
We have a mutual friend, Nelson Dellis, 4-time USA memory champion. Yes. He runs the Extreme Memory competition, and he has something called the Extreme Memory Challenge, which is kind of a promotional tool for that. And you can actually go on one day, you put in your email or whatever, and it shows you 30 names and faces, which is what they do in the World Memory Competition. They more than 30, obviously. Yeah. But you can go on, it'll say, here's Tomas, here's Agostino, here's Jeremy. And then you have to go back the next day and try and do it. Too. There's some cute women in it. You have to go back the next day and do it. And we did a masterclass session with Nelson, and I was like, just so you know, Nelson, I forgot to go back in the next day, hit the email saying log in now and check, went to my spam folder. So I actually took it 36 hours later instead of 24, and I still got the same score as he did.
Nice.
Using just techniques, you know.
And guys, by the way, you may be thinking now, we started talking about becoming a memorable person. Why are we talking about remembering names? Well, when you meet somebody for the first time, if you don't remember the name, you are amongst 95% of other people. You don't really distinguish yourself because most people don't remember names.
Right.
But when you are one of those very few people who remember names, suddenly you distinguish yourself. Whenever somebody remembers my name, I'm impressed. And you bet it, I'm going to remember them. Because most of the time you meet people and they refer to you, hey mate, hey buddy.
Hey bro.
Hey bro.
Hey bro.
That's it, right? Hey my friend. But they would never repeat your name, and you kind of know that they simply forgot it. But when we have a conversation within a group, and after 1 or 2 hours, somebody refers to me as, hey Jimmy, what's up, man? I'm like, wow, okay, that person paid attention to my name. And as a result, I'm going to remember that person, all right? So that's why it's so important.
You know what's amazing to me is we've been talking now, I don't know how long,
I have no idea.
None of us has mentioned Dale Carnegie, because he's the master of this. Yeah, have you read How to Win Friends and Influence People?
Of course. Multiple times.
You've read it.
I actually bought this book for many people as a gift.
It's my number one most given book. And the line that I remember most from that book is, remember that to any person,
the sweetest
sound in any language is that person's name. Or remember that person's name is the sweetest sound in any language.
Yeah.
And it's true. Yeah. It's like you remember their name, you just became an order of magnitude of a better, more interesting, more engaged, more in touch person.
It is very true.